Hey, very pleasant good afternoon as we welcome you into the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here on Facebook Live, and in mere moments, I do believe we will be on the sports radio. If we can get our connection set. And
live weather update from State College for Saturday is bring your rain gear.
It is a homecoming weekend here in the Valley. Yes, and yes, we do welcome you in on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox as well. It is the Goon and Ironhead show here, brought to you by Lion Country Kia, the good folks at Quaker Steak Lube, who are kind enough to host us, and of course also Sioka Motors. And the Penn State Golf Course, by the way, Penn State Golf Course, a great place, just in general. But certainly if you're a golfer, and yeah, Saturday, maybe not a great day to head out to the links, but still a great day to check out the 19th hole at the Penn State Golf Courses. But you can't play a great round of golf at the links on either their blue or you can practice your driving skills on the driving range, working your short game on any one of the 4 practice greens. And yes, if you are hungry before or after your round, or even if you're not playing, stop on in and check out the 19th hole. Great refreshments, great place to grab a bite to eat. And of course, you can also check out the Walker Clubhouse, browse the great line of golf gear and Penn State merchandise. You can visit Penn State Golf Courses.com or give them a call at 814-865 Golf 14-865. Apologies on the Facebook live page. We're having issues with the video, so we'll continue to try to work on that. But
well, there we go.
We're good. It is homecoming weekend. The Nittany Lions and the mighty Minutemen of UMass, a 3:30 kickoff at Beaver Stadium. And a couple of things we'll just start with from James Franklin's press conference on Tuesday. Some people just were misinterpreting and not understanding what James Franklin was saying. Listen, sometimes coaches will, make a comment disparaging of an opponent or somebody and then try to walk it back. That is not what happened here with James Franklin. I saw some report earlier today, he tried to walk back his comments. No, it was misinterpreted. I mean, this one clearly was. I thought it was readily apparent that he was not saying there's anything wrong with what Michigan is doing, and he didn't name Michigan by name. But his point is, yes, when you are playing 9 conference games in a conference like the Big Ten, all of the teams that are going to contend anyway are going to try to schedule 3 W's. That's just the reality of it, and you're foolish not to, because your conference schedule is set up to get you right into the playoffs if you navigate it successfully, certainly with no losses or 1 loss starting next season. That's going to get you in, but getting a Big Ten schedule, a conference that now includes, and I understand you're not playing all of these teams every season, but you're facing at least 2 or 3 of the Oregon, USC, Washington, Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, Wisconsin group, and you throw in there, Iowa, and then, different years, different teams come up and have good seasons. Yeah, I mean, James Franklin's point was valid. That yes, look at what all of the teams who are trying to contend, including the at the moment the standard bearer in the conference. But yeah, that's just the reality. Now, I think from the standpoint of the sports fan, I think it stinks, but it makes perfect sense, and it only stinks insofar as you don't get the early season matchup you want. But there's no fan base that at the end of the year is, oh man, my team's playing for the national title, but man, they didn't schedule that great intersectional game back in September. There's no fan base, none anywhere. that is going to complain about that if on the back end you are in the playoffs at least, and certainly if you're in the semifinals of the championship game, right?
I mean, Michigan people must have a complex right now to think that automatically they were talking about them because they're buying games back, is what he said. But they're not the only team that's doing that. They're all doing that.
No, and that was his point. Is that Penn State is going to do this because everybody else is doing it.
Because their out of conference is so bad this year. Now, with that said, next year's Michigan out of conference, holy crap. Don't be surprised if Jimmy Harbaugh bolts to the NFL with that schedule coming up. So the difference in us and them is that we've been in the Big Ten for 30 years, okay? Before that, we had great rivalries, and I love what Penn State's doing by scheduling one of those great rivalries every year.
Yeah,
I mean, we play Temple, we play Pitt, we play West Virginia. I'm sure we'll get Syracuse back on there. I want to get Virginia Tech, but the old school classic, are what we would have called the Big East back in the day, back in the 70s and 80s, where Penn State made their name.
Right.
I love how Penn State has, but Michigan and Ohio State don't have the ability to do that because they've been playing the same Big Ten schedule for how freaking long. Forever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we have that ability. I mean, who's Michigan's schedule out of conference? They're going to schedule one of the directional colleges of Michigan or two. I mean, the MAC is there for us to go in, and we get our games against them. But I think the Penn State set apart a little bit different with the intersectional rivalries. Not intersectional because it is a sectional rivalry, but it's a historic rival to us, and it means a little bit, and gets a little fan involvement there.
And listen,
you think Michigan fans are fired up playing Bowling Green?
Right. There is another component here too, which is that sometimes you try to schedule a W, and oops, because the schedules are made so far in advance, it's like, oh, that's so. I think as you look at it right now, you could say, yeah, it'd be great for Penn State to play, rotate through the Syracuse and Boston College and West Virginia and Temple. In part, I think because rarely are those teams contending for playoff berths, right? Like West Virginia might every now and then, Pitt might every now and then, unless Syracuse or Boston College certainly down the road. I mean, it's certainly within the realm of possibility. But more often than not, right, you're getting a team will be a decent test. I mean, not a pushover most seasons. But if you're a team that is expecting to be contending for the playoffs, most years, Syracuse, West Virginia, Boston College, even Pitt, I mean, those are teams you should be beating.
You sound like, my boy from the 82 team. I'm going to call him Cornelius. Oh, my God. But he wrote the book about how Penn State in 1982, they played 10 ranked opponents in that magical 82 season.
So, and this is, and if one of the real problems for college football, problem, I guess, is a relative term. One of the things that is certainly an inequity that is not quote unquote fair about college football is just that. Listen, the NFL, not every team's schedule is the same, right? At the end of the year, it's like, oh man, that team had an easier road than this team, for sure. But there is an attempt. You're playing, within the division, you're playing all of those teams, both home and away. You're playing, more on your side of the conference. And you're facing, and again, where the luck comes in is, do you get the draw of facing the NFC North in a year like this or a year like 4 years ago? And that's just, again, sort of the luck of the draw. But there's some relative equity there in terms of the schedule and the way it's made. In college football, you don't get a lot of reward if you're Ohio State for scheduling Notre Dame and beating them versus, Penn State scheduling West Virginia and beating them. At the end of the season, if both teams have one loss, right, you're going to head-to-head, and then you're comparing in conference. I mean, now, obviously, if you go down far enough, I get it. It could come into play. But generally, the benefit of scheduling a big game, especially if you lose it, it's not there, especially, again, if you are in for sure the Big Ten or the SEC, and to some extent, I think any of the Power 5 conferences.
Well, I mean, you talk about luck of the draw. Look at Wisconsin this year. They didn't draw Penn State or Michigan.
Right.
That's just one of those things. Iowa didn't have a real tough schedule last year.
Yeah.
I don't think. I mean, it's usually in the Big Ten when it goes out the Western teams to see who they pull, because the East is the most dominant of the conferences in any country, actually, in the whole country, actually.
For sure, right?
I mean, there's the SEC East they really take a peek at the Big Ten East division.
Not with the top end, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. Maryland, Rutgers, they're both very, very, very feasible.
They're solid
football teams.
Yeah,
they would probably be possibly contending in the West.
I do. I think Maryland would for sure be contending. I don't know that they'd win it, but I feel like they could.
Yeah, they had a better chance than they would in the East, man.
Now they're still not. Watching that Ohio State game,
they went out of horses.
Yeah, their line is better than it's been. I mean, I do think this is for sure Mike Loxley's best team yet, but they're not there at the line of scrimmage. And even with the playmakers, they're not consistently there the way an Ohio State or Michigan are. And, we think Penn State is. I do want to the other thing that, James Franklin touched on at his press conference, aside from the long ball, maybe we'll get into that in a minute too, but the importance of Trey Wallace or Harrison Wallace the third, the importance that he has in that passing game and what his presumed return means to it, I think that is a big deal. And it's one of those things where I think the depth at wide receiver is good enough that it's like, well, no, losing a player there shouldn't be that big of a deal. But it's that the rules then change, and the two things that I think Wallace brings to the table. One is he caught just about every doggone thing thrown at him early in the season. But the other is he is the guy that I think can stretch the field vertically. I mean, the biggest area of concern, I think probably still for many remains the lack of big play production. And certainly, both Mike Yursich and James Franklin have talked about it over the 2 weeks here, that is something that has to improve.
He gets on the field this week, comes back, gets his feet underneath him rather than going out to the horseshoe next week. And that's the first play of the month. So huge. I don't think we've had this because the bye week, we always used to play a much larger game afterwards. And I don't know if they strategically planned a lesser team like a UMass. I mean, no offense to UMass, but I mean, we're gearing towards Ohio State for next Saturday already.
Offense taken by the minute.
Oh, man. I mean, this is one of those things where James is, got to be talking about UMass, otherwise it might bite you in the butt. Bite you. But again, got to stay healthy. You got to fine tune, and you got to be ready. I mean, honest to God, I would really be harping on these guys on our team. I would really be stressing coming out strong. It just seems that we haven't done that. And I know it's the age-old. It's a lot of people's problems, It's not a lot of people can come out and start on fire. But let's try this week. Let's try to be aggressive this week. And then, I know you're talking about the press conference and speaking about aggressive. Boy, that was a little awkward out there, man. That whole aspect.
It just wasn't. I think what he was getting at, I think, was a legitimate point. But it was horribly worded, and then to me, you start digging yourself further. There are times where you got to, you know what? Just like a quarterback, sometimes you just throw the ball away, live to play the next day. Once you ask the question and it is not going the way you were envisioning, again, and I've been in listen, I've asked questions that's like, I'm good. That's not even what I was trying to get at, and it's like, and again, on me, I'm not even saying it was the coaches. It's like you ask a question, it's like, and then you hear the answer, and it's like, Okay, I'll ask that another time, a better way. Let me think that one through better.
He
Nope.
got roasted on Twitter.
Yeah, it was just.
And it was a little too much because at practice yesterday, did you see what happened at practice? James said, run it down or throw it deep or something. I made another disparaging little ball bust towards Corey on that one. And I'm sure, to be honest, I'm sure that James and Corey probably have a relationship like that where it was like, I'm sure James called and said, listen, in no way, shape, or form am I trying to embarrass you. So, that's the person that James is, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's not going to go do that purposely.
No, he was saying, like, I don't.
Joke out of it, in my opinion, is what they ended up doing.
Yes.
But either way. Go out there this week. Let's really, really, really try to start quick. Let's get some big hitters. Let's break some runs. Let's go out there and just try to put our foot in these guys' throats early and just prove to ourselves that we can start quick. We've talked about it for months, possibly years.
The weather may hamper that, and I know, I'm all on board with the no excuses stuff, but man, it looks like a chilly, very rainy Saturday.
Only 100% chance.
That is not a great recipe for electric offensive plays. Now, not saying it can't be done. It has been done. I've watched games in downpours where big plays have occurred all over the place. The one thing I do think, I think Penn State's defense is going to have an absolute feast on Saturday because Penn State's aggressiveness, the fairly wide talent gap that I think exists between the two programs, and then you throw in the weather to an offense that I think is going to be under a lot of pressure. It feels like a recipe for a big turnover margin day in Penn State's favor. But part of that is, the Nittany Lions need to do what they have done all season long on offense, and that is take care of the football. Yeah, I think the defense will get its fair share of turnovers. The mild concern for me is that the offense in trying to produce big plays doesn't get sloppy or careless or make mistakes that could allow UMass to hang around. I really can't see.
That's exactly what you've done.
And I can't see any circumstance. I rarely do I go into any sporting event saying there's no chance. There's just no chance that UMass wins this thing.
Okay, let's do something funny.
Could it be relatively closer than what we're thinking? Yeah.
They might score 10 points.
Possibly. I think that's unlikely given the weather conditions and Penn State's defense. And even if Penn State, which I think will happen, gets 3, 4, 5 deep on the depth chart, again, you're still I am just not expecting UMass to be able to do much of anything offensively.
Stay healthy, get ready for next week. But just do me a favor, people that are watching out there, just if you have a chance, watch Olu Sashana with left tackle. And this is going to be an inferior defensive line. And just watch what a top player in next year's draft can do against a guy who's. And then, the last time we played against Delaware, and Aeneas was at my tailgate. We were laughing and joking, but it was pretty cool. And he was like, "Dude, you know how many guys are going to talk about I played against Olu Sashana." That's been one of those things. You're going to watch that kid for 12 years in the NFL, being all pro. And you're going to sit there and say, I played against him. I pressured the quarterback, I think, one time. I breathed on him.
To be able to play in Beaver Stadium. And listen, if Penn State does go on and make the playoffs or even wins the national title, those kids for UMass and Delaware in particular, you don't think they're going to be talking about the time they played Penn State in its national championship season or its playoff season in Beaver Stadium? Yeah, that's pretty special stuff.
You still full bullish on the boys?
Well, as from day one, I want to see what happens with Ohio State and Michigan, and then I'll let you know.
I told somebody yesterday, somebody said, what do you think is going to happen? I said, I think we beat Ohio State. I really do. And that's a tough place to play. There's a lot of bugaboos out there. A lot of people complain about the Ohio State experience and this and that because it is a tough place to play. It is loud, and they're right on top of you, and they are in your grill. But that's what makes it a tough place to play. But with that said, I'm telling you, I got this feeling about this team, Jeff. I really, truly do. What the hell did we do I'm more worried. Again, I go back to the last 10 years. We have matched up well with Ohio State.
Yep.
We've been in every one of those games. The only game we've never really been in was that Michigan game last year. I mean, that was just an absolute booty-kicking throttling that went down. I'm interested to see where we're going to be at that point. Like how you're waiting for the Ohio State-Michigan game. I'm okay with how we're playing right now, matching up against Ohio State. But what I'm worried about is the interior of our O-line and the interior of our D-line and our defensive front against the Wolverines from Michigan. We're going to see how much we've improved in this past year. We will see come November 11th. But obviously get through this weekend, get on to the Buckeyes, win that game, get in the top 3 or 4. Hey, nitty-gritty time now, buddy.
Notre Dame USC, dear Goon. What
lost a little bit of luster after last week, didn't it?
A little, I guess.
Still watching. I will still.
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like I think this is a really dangerous spot for USC.
Caleb Williams is. I watched it. He is.
Well, I mean, he's the sole reason. He's the sole reason they're still unbeaten after that Arizona.
How many Heismans has Lincoln Riley coached?
I don't know that.
I mean, think about it. He had Kyler. Did he have Baker? Oklahoma had, was he, wouldn't have been there with Sam, whatever his name was. That was 15 years. But I'm just saying, he has had a ton of guys. And he's just pushing them out there. I mean, is it a system thing? I don't know what he runs out there. But I was impressed last week with what I saw. I didn't see that much because I was, like I told you, I was at the battlefield. But what I saw, what highlights and stuff like that, and watching Texas the week before, I did not think Oklahoma had a shot in that game. Not a shot after watching that Oklahoma team, or watching the Texas team the week before. Run the ball at will, pounding somebody. They pounded out Kansas bad. I'm impressed by what Oklahoma did last week. I don't know if it was Texas losing that game, but again, it's that rivalry thing. You can't measure. There's no measuring stick for a rivalry game, and that is an ultimate rivalry right there.
Well, I will say that game, if you're looking for a game to give you hope and inspiration as a Penn State fan looking to the Michigan game this year, that Oklahoma-Texas game would be it. Because last year, for as bad as the Michigan game was for Penn State fans, that Texas-Oklahoma game for Sooners fans last year was much, much worse. And, yeah, I mean, there's no question Oklahoma, turned it around in every which way. And obviously having a healthy, effective quarterback was a big part of the equation for the Sooners as well. And that is the one thing I think with Penn State now. And listen, I understand Drew Aller didn't light the world on fire in the 2 road starts this season. But what he is capable of, right? The ever dangerous potential. But I mean, Aller has the ability to be one of those guys that does go out and win you a game. Mm-hmm. And I think that is what Penn State has in its hip pocket right now. Now, until he goes out and actually does it against an Ohio State or Michigan, again, it's fantastic to have potential. It doesn't actually do you any good. But if you can realize that potential in one or both of those games, now we've got a different story. And, Penn State takes that next step in the final year of the 4-year playoff system. I
didn't research that. I wanted to do something. How many times would we have made the playoffs in the Franklin era? I mean, it's probably 4 or 5, maybe even 6 times that we would have gone to the playoff in the top 12.
Well, yeah, 3 for sure.
Yep. Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy that we've been knocking and watch us get in them this year and last year.
Well, and I think it would be big. It would be big for the program. especially, and now we're really getting ahead of ourselves, but when you look at what's coming back next year for Penn State, even with the move to an expanded Big Ten, right, Penn State should be well positioned, and obviously if you're coming off a playoff run, that is going to do nothing but bolster the recruiting, which is already very strong.
We're talking about scheduling here, and I have one thing that we go forward. If you look at our 2025 home schedule,
Yeah.
it is not good. And that as a fan, because you need to get a couple draws, right?
Yeah.
We have one opening still for an out-of-conference game. Now, if you're Pat Kraft, is that something like, okay, we got to get somebody? We have USC and Oregon, I think, two of the newer teams coming in, which is great.
Yeah.
But it still is not Ohio State and Michigan. I'm sure 20 years from now, that'll be just a big rivalry playing those teams as it is for Ohio State, Michigan. But, for 30 years now, we've been battling. We've played Ohio State every year for 30 years. This is our 31st year in the Big Ten. So we have done that. So there is an out-of-conference game in 2025 that could be a home game. And do you think that we would go out and try to solicit a higher named, a bigger named out-of-conference game?
If you mean like, no, if you're talking about like trying to get like a
10 or top
20
15
team,
game.
yeah, I don't think you're trying to get a top 20 team.
I mean, like a Virginia
You
Tech
might-
might be a great pickup right here. A named team. I mean,
Virginia Tech could be. I
Florida
could
State?
see that as a possibility.
Florida
No,
State, Miami, they're huge.
no.
North Carolina would be a good one. But again, that's it's a possible loss for you, so you don't really want to do that.
Yeah, I don't think that's.
But I'm just saying,
that's the
as an athletic director, is he looking to get a big marquee conference game? I think he has to, because people are already talking about how bad they feel that home schedule is.
If Penn State is in the playoffs at the end of the year, nobody is going to care. Not a single fan is going to write. And congratulations on being in the playoffs, but I am very upset that we did not have a marquee. Not one fan. Not one fan is going to do that. And to answer your question directly, no. Now I think much more likely is, when you say name school like a Syracuse, I think would make some sense. You might not be going, the MAC route. You might. I'm not saying that's not a possibility too, but I think it's more likely that you're looking for a team that you think anyway is going to be more of a middle of the pack to bottom end team. But I think having a team that maybe has a little history there with the fan base, that would make, to me, some sense. So like a Syracuse or a Boston College, to me, would make some sense.
Our two out-of-conference home games already that season are Nevada and Illinois.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I just think they try to get a bigger name. I really personally do, just because they want the fan base to buy the tickets and all that stuff. But,
They're going to buy the
Cincinnati.
tickets anyway. If Penn State has the seasons that we're expecting the next, if this year finishes up at 11-1 or better, and next year is 10-2 or better, then those tickets are going to be sold if you're playing. I'm not trying to offend anybody. If they schedule Brown, people are going to show up. There might not be 110,000, but they're going to buy the tickets. They'll have all the tickets sold, and fans at the end of the year are going to be happy that it's another 10-2 or 11-1 team. Is what I think. Now, again, I think you maybe try to schedule a team that has some connection for at least some of the fan base. In one way, shape, or form.
3 out of 4, we got to play them at home. That's what they say.
Yeah.
That just blows my mind. Still to this day, Jeff.
Yeah.
How they think they still are on par football-wise and program-wise, where they feels that they deserve a home and home with Penn State. How about 2-1, 4-3? That's what you get. Because you're Temple. I mean, that's how I feel about Pitt. I mean, I never even played. I think I played him one time physically. One time redshirt, I couldn't play, but I was on the field my freshman year. It was like 912 or something. It was so bad. It was horrible. I mean, how those fans really, really, truly think that they are on the same level of Penn State football still to this day. It just absolutely blows my mind. And I don't know. They're the weirdest fans, I think. What you tell me, you've lived amongst them. They're weird. They truly, truly think that they are still relevant. And they sell 119 tickets out. 119 tickets a game.
Well, it depends what you call relevant. And yes, in a pro sports city, it is difficult. I mean, even Miami, they need to be winning national titles to garner real attention.
Yeah, their fans were all out of state anyway.
We'll take a break here. We are back with more of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show after that.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
Since retiring, I have spent my time searching the countryside for the hottest wings in America. I always seem to end up disappointed. You call these hot? Back off, Luigi.
Mamma mia.
Look hands it, busboy. Your wings suck! I knew I should have stuck with Quaker Steak's triple atomic wings. You think I'm tough enough?
The Center Hall Farm Store has been serving Center County and beyond for well over a half century. A small family business, the Center Hall Farm Store specializes in animal nutrition and manufactures its feed fresh using local ingredients. Get the best in horse, cow, pig, chicken, and bird feeds. If you're not already a customer, stop in and see why so many of your neighbors are. The Center Hall Farm Store at 110 West Allison Street in Center Hall, or call us at 814-364-1393.
Sioka Toyota of Williamsport invites you to stop in today or check us out online. We have the smart path to your next Toyota, like the all-new Crown, BZ4X, the all-new Grand Highlander, Corolla Cross Hybrids, Sequoias, and more. Over 100 new Toyotas here and on the way. Don't make a $1,000 mistake. Choose Sioka Toyota of Williamsport and see the Sioka dealership's difference. Buy or reserve yours today and see for yourself why Sioka Toyota is the only stop you need for your next new car. Sioka Toyota, it just feels right.
Ready to be part of something bigger? Come pave the road to success at Glen Baker and discover a career where your hard work and determination can build a bigger, better future. Our team believes we can build a stronger future together. Join us at Glen Baker, where we value teamwork on the field and on the job. Go to GOHcareers.com to apply. GOHcareers.com. And best of luck to all the Center County sports teams all season long from everyone at Glen Baker.
The Goon and Ironhead.
Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here at Quaker Steak and Lube on a Thursday afternoon ahead of homecoming Saturday for Penn State. Kickoff against UMass again at 3:30 in Beaver Stadium, and the homecoming parade gets underway tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock. By the way, Center County Red Zone returns to the airwaves tomorrow night as well. Mark Snyder will be the studio host, and good group of games highlighted by State College in Harrisburg at Memorial Field in downtown State College on homecoming Friday night. And the Little Lions are 5-1 in the season. The Cougars are 6-1 in the season. Of course, they split the two meetings last year. State High won the regular season matchup, and then Harrisburg won the more important PIAA state semifinal game between the two last season. Mark Littell will have our coverage of State College Harrisburg at Memorial Field tomorrow night. Also, Bellefonte will be on the road looking for its first win of the season against Bishop McCourt. McCourt is 2-5 on the season, and Penns Valley at 4-3 travels to 3-4 Somerset. The Rams looking to bounce back after a couple of tough losses. Also, a couple of games coming up on Saturday here in Center County. Bald Eagle area will be at Greater Johnstown. The Eagles should win that game pretty comfortably. Greater Johnstown is winless through 7 weeks. Bald Eagle area coming off its first loss, a hard-fought game against Clearfield. And the Eagles sit at 6-1 of the season. Phillipsburg Osceola is 2-5 and will be at Westmont Hilltop, which is also 2-5 on Saturday as well. So
Clearfield, does Bellefonte play Greater Johnstown? Is that a conference thing?
Yeah, it should.
Okay, good.
I'm not positive about that. Should be.
They win, Raiders. Come on now.
Could be the last week. Actually, I don't think, because next week, let's see, Bellefonte's at Huntington next week, and then it is possible they would meet in the last week. The Laurel Highlands is doing this goofy thing where they'll announce later, but that would seem like a likely final week matchup in the Bellefonte and Greater Johnstown.
That's cool. Yeah, Bellefonte needs to get off the schneid a little bit there. My buddy's kid plays for him. Every week I see him at our tailgate. It's really more and more depleted, a little more upset. So they're going to get it. They're going to get it.
Unfortunately, Major League Baseball playoffs continuing. Just no storylines in the Braves-Phillies series, Goon. And, I know Philadelphia fans were excited. They were hoping to see something special when they came to the ballpark yesterday, but just no such luck. What's happening in that series?
Well, let's just say this. First of all three of the other.
Hold on. Phillies just hit another home run.
They hit their 7th home run now. 6 home runs in one game for one team. Very impressive.
Yeah,
but I'm more impressed that Texas just destroyed Baltimore. That's unbelievable. Texas has not lost in the playoffs. Houston just is a playoff team. They are just built for the playoffs. It's crazy. Yeah. And then Arizona came and just blew away the Dodgers. And that just blows my mind.
I know Baltimore won 101 games, right? I think
the Braves are at 104.
So, I know that's a surprise for sure. But the Dodgers getting swept by the Dodgers.
Humiliated too.
That is, that is one of those ones where I just wonder how much of that, again, it just gets in your head. It's a storyline for the Dodgers, the lack of postseason success, and then you get Kershaw getting absolutely shelled in the opener, and it never felt like the Dodgers were ever anything like what we saw during the regular season in that series with Arizona.
Yep. And then our dream of the Minnesota Twins hosting a November baseball game was over, Jeff. It's over.
Yeah, that's
but yes, I was going to the Phillies. So my nephew, he just graduated from Penn State last year. He's in a couple startup position jobs right now, so he's in and out of, could do what he did last night, and that was he went down to the Philly Stadium at 3 p.m, but he got in for the standing room only, him and his twin sister, and they we want to get a good spot, and they were literally in an awesome spot, standing room only. So, he's like texting me, he's like, you have no idea, game starts in an hour and a half, it's packed, their people are going crazy, and I'm like, there's no way. The Phillies aren't getting an emotional surge from these crowd. It's just absolutely insane what they're doing. But then the Phillies are doing what they're doing because of the surge from the fans. It's almost like the fans are willing what's going on. But everybody had a kid growing up that okay, we got to get Jimmy up the bat. If we just get Jimmy up the bat, he'll make something happen.
Attaboy, Jimmy.
Attaboy, Jimmy. Way to go, Jimbo. We got to get up there. Get some people on. Jimmy will drive them home. And that kid came through all the time.
Yeah.
That's literally Bryce Harper right now. It's just okay, the moment is never too big for him. And then going into that game, I remember watching 2 mornings ago, I read on Twitter that somebody was talking about the Atlanta outfielders who made the play to double off Harper on Monday night to end the game. And they were calling, ha, 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 Harper, ha, 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 Harper. And somebody was like, I hope Bryce Harper sees this. And then I'm watching that game last night, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure he read it. He may have tattooed it on his body the way he played last night. But that home run he hit, that upper deck one, and then the one he put right through center field, just absolute bombs. But then the stare down he gave to the guy who set it in center field was absolutely, it's one of the all-time Philadelphia moments in my opinion. Can't get over how awesome that was. Yeah, and it was just like, my thing about the Braves is they're very chirpy. They're very good at what they do. They are very good at what they do. But they get a little chirpy out there, and the Phillies just smacked them in the teeth last night, and they ran away. So, the guy pitching tonight, did you see the interview with him a couple weeks, like two weeks ago? He said, I want to hear a weird take on something. He goes, you want to hear a weird take? And this is the guy pitching tonight. He says, 2020, no fans in the crowd? Awesome. There's no reason to have fans. It's way too loud anyway. And it's just like he's saying this, and he's going to pitch in Philadelphia tonight. So they were chanting his name last night. We want, and they're going crazy. So I guarantee you, I expect a Johnny Cueto moment because this guy, because my wife, Carrie, said she didn't think it was true. She think it was a little setup, just like a dumb answer to a dumb question. But if that guy feels that way, he's going to hear stuff tonight. I mean, he may as well just start putting earwax in right now and start like tissue papering in his ear so he doesn't hear, because it is going to be absolutely bonkers down at the bank today. Bonkers.
Yeah, going back to the and listen, athletes, what fuels the competitive juices and the emotions is sometimes very understandable. Sometimes it's just laughable. I mean, Michael Jordan, obviously, most famously, you could, I think Michael's one of the greatest players ever. One of? How dare? He would use that, right? Like if
disrespect.
Yes, I can't believe you would disrespect me as not.
It was. If you didn't look at him and acknowledge it, if you didn't shake his hand firmly, if you shook it too firmly, that dude was just wired so that no matter what happened, he was going to use it as fuel for his fire.
He needed that. He needed that push.
I do think it's interesting. And listen, if I'm a Philadelphia fan, I am absolutely loving the Bryce Harper, Orlando Arcia storyline and the stare down of Arcia after both home runs. If you don't know the story, so Arcia in the Braves locker room, and this is what I do want to talk to you about, because there's a couple of components to this. So in the Braves locker room, which there was a time, and I understand times have changed, but there was a time, right, where if we're in the locker room, that is, and coaches everywhere, I guarantee you, are saying stuff in the locker room that if it got out publicly, people, opponents and fans and everybody else would be worked up. You tell your kids stuff to get them fired up, and sometimes there's been some famous, after games that has come out that, this coach, Coach so-and-so said Team X, do you know what these guys were saying all week about you? They said you're not tough and you don't know how to play at the goal line stand. Well, that other team never said it. But those guys go out and they're fired up. And so that stuff is done all the time. So Arcia, after the game 2, Braves win that game. Series is even 1-1.
Back on their play.
Yeah, yes. So emotions are obviously high in the Braves locker room. And Arcia says, boy, Harper. Not to Harper, again, he is saying he never even occurred to him that this might get out in any way, shape, or form. Obviously, it did get out. And Bryce Harper certainly used it as fuel, and as the stare down would confirm. He was ready to go and
took it too lightly
and looking for redemption. But I want to go to, where do you come down now? Because I know cameras and stuff are everywhere. And listen, sometimes, like, you know it. I mean, the network will come in and say, hey, we're recording the pregame speech. Well, you know that then. And you know this is going to come out, and presumably you're going to adjust accordingly if you feel you need to. But taking the Phillies component out of it, when something is said in the locker room that is meant to be in the locker room, your thoughts on that stuff then getting out,
they were
regardless of whether or not
somebody's going to hear it. Maybe 20, 30, 40 years ago, they would have heard about it, but it wouldn't be heard through media. You know what I mean? An attendant in the locker room, who's paid by the Phillies, but he maintains the opposing locker room. He may go to Bryce and say, hey, listen, man, they were talking mad junk about you last night, this and that. And, hey, whatever it took, man, Harper took it to heart. But, yes, if they were saying it amongst themselves in a team meeting type of thing, you know what? You watch anything you watch on, I guess one of Rucci, his two sons play up in Wisconsin. And they had one of them was mic'd up last week. And it's just funny because, you start talking to people and they're like, and he has to say, I just walk away. Because you don't want stuff out there. Definitely, for sure, do not want publicly. So, yes, I think he would have found out about it, what they were saying in their locker room, but the fact that it came from a national report, from a national reporter saying, I hope Bryce Harper hears about this. Well, yeah, you just put it on Twitter. He's going to hear about it. I mean, how else do you think, as a Philadelphia fan, that was the greatest thing that ever happened. But as an athlete, I mean, you got it. There is some sacredness to the locker room, to the room that you have to respect. And like I said, but in years past, I'm sure there was an attendant in there who would have said, "Hey, Bryce, I just heard some stuff over there," not somebody saying from Fox News, like, "Hey," or Fox Sports saying, they were saying this in the locker room, and maybe they're trying to they're trying to create this thing, and that's sort of the sensationalism of media nowadays, I guess. Either way, it was freaking awesome.
Oh, wow.
I mean, tell me about more. I mean, you might say Mark Messier is like my ultimate team guy, you know how hard that is for me to say as a Flyers fan. But Mark Messier to me has always been one of the greatest, I think, leaders in sports. And when he came out in that '94 Stanley Cup and said, "We're going to win tomorrow night, and we're going to win Game 7, and we're going to win the Stanley Cup," and he went out and scored a hat trick.
Yeah,
I mean, that is backing it up. You saying it and you back it up. But I'm telling you, I don't think I've seen a performance it's not just that he's not just hot this year. He did it all last year. He's been doing it his whole career, his whole life. It's like he's that guy. Just get Bryce up, and he makes something happen. Yeah. Even the play that they were talking about of him getting doubled off at first base.
Yeah.
If that ball hits the wall, that game is tied.
Yep.
So that was a risk in itself. So, but that risk was worth taking, in my opinion. I was not upset about it at all. No, I said, if that ball hits, that hits the wall, he's scoring. And that game is tied. Everything's all back to, boom, we're back to normal. We're back to tied up. That didn't work out for him. He got mad about that, I'm sure, because people were saying he should have done it. I'm like, no, he did exactly what he needed to do. That was a great attempt.
I agree. And if it does hit off the wall, that's what everybody is saying.
And they're going to say, well, if he's sitting on first base between first and second, he doesn't score. There's no way.
Right.
But where he was, he could score. So he took a risk. It bit him in the butt. I'm pretty sure he came back last night and, him and Castellanos, Chris Stapleton, who plays left field for the Philadelphia Phillies now, Brandon Marsh. Having watched that concert, I'm sitting there with my wife and her friends last night. I said, "Do you guys know that Chris Stapleton plays for the Phillies?" And they're like, "Oh my God, it does look like him. He looks like a little dirtbag." And I said, "Yes, that's what Chris Stapleton looked like the other night, didn't it?" But it is fun times, man. But the first 4 wild card games went sweeps.
Yeah,
and then 3 of the 4 series so far already over.
Yeah.
So you got to win tonight because you don't want to go into a Game 5 against Atlanta with their offense. I mean, they could do exactly what they did 2 nights ago. So But I just, if the Philadelphia fans had anything to do about it, the game's over. They've won 15-0. I mean, that's how insane, crazy they are going to be tonight.
Yeah,
and I
it
just
was a
can't.
scene last night.
It
that's
was
for sure.
unbelievable.
Yeah,
unbelievable. And he just crushed that upper deck home run. That was like one of those no-brainers. So I'm watching the game with Old New York, and it was so funny because for some reason the MLB had the game on, and then so did TBS. So they had it on the right television, and I'm watching that one. I couldn't hear it, but it was in Spanish. And I didn't realize for like 3 innings, and I was like, what the hell's Juegos mean? You know, dude? So Carrie Shren comes in, and she speaks Spanish. She's like, what means game? So it's 2 games. I'm like, oh, okay. But then I'm watching it, and there was an 18-second delay between the game I'm watching. I was right on top of it, and people on TBS were 18 seconds behind. I was like running around, and it was, what the hell's he cheering about? And then all of a sudden, he stands up and just crushes that ball. So funny, great, awesome time. I mean, last year and this year have been some fun times for the Phillies, and I got my boy Pilly here. He grew up in the South Jersey, Northeast PA area, so he understands the whole. And I've talked to you about this. I mean, just is this the best time, like in Pennsylvania sports history? I mean, the Penguins are. I mean, if you go back to like the 70s, with Pitt, Penn State, Steelers, Eagles go to a Super Bowl in '80. The Sixers go to 2 titles, 3 titles. Flyers win 2 titles. Then Penn State and Pitt both win national titles, 3 titles between the 2 of them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a pretty damn good time to be a Philadelphia and Penn State fan right now. The Eagles are damn good, and the Phillies are, let's hopefully 1 win away from going for the division, not the division, but for the
national pennant. For the national league pennant. Against a Diamondbacks team that is, while red hot, certainly feels beatable. And
I was sitting there watching the game last night, and I told Carrie and her friends, I was like, "This is gonna suck having to watch because I don't like dome baseball. It just looks plastic."
I'm with you, but
it just doesn't have that like feel. And I want the smoke coming out of their breath because it's so cold out. And the way it's going right now, hell, the way these games, the series are getting swept away, then it might be over before November. But yes, it is a very good time. I'm looking forward to tonight's game. I just cannot imagine what it's going to sound like down there. I mean, woo.
Yeah, there did seem to be a little excitement in the stadium last night.
Yeah,
I think that's fair to say.
You could tell how it was 6-1 though at the 4th inning, and the fans had finally sat down by then. So I think they felt comfortable at that point because I figured they were just going to stand up the whole game, and they will tonight if it's a tight game, the whole game up and down. But if that guy is really serious, Strider if he's really serious about the whole, he doesn't like noise, he wants a no crowd. He's going to get Johnny Cueto tonight for sure. And that is one of my favorite Pittsburgh stories right now.
That was unbelievable.
He drops the ball off the mound. He didn't want to be there, gives up a dinger. That was absolutely awesome. I was a Pirate fan that night.
Yeah. It was nice to have a moment in the last 50 years.
I don't want to go there. Sorry, I apologize. I'm just so upset about that.
The Steelers are off this weekend, and I think I'm not generally a fan of having the early bye week, right? I think generally, and probably in a few weeks, I'll think that is the case again. But it actually feels to me this year, given where the Steelers are and what's happened to this point, I kind of like the fact that they do have the first bye week available off to hopefully try to figure some things out offensively, but heal some bumps and bruises. And, again, the amazing thing from the Steelers' perspective is they have been, putrid, to put it kindly, offensively. Through 5 games, and yet they're sitting in first place in the AFC North. And obviously,
I don't think you mentioned that.
all of what did I not mention that on Tuesday? I meant to get around to that. I thought I forgot something on Tuesday. Yeah, the Steelers, as it turns out, are in first place in the AFC North. But I think this, we'll see if what they come out with in 2 weeks. I reserve the right to change my mind about this, but
I'm interested to see.
It feels like this is a good time for the bye week for the Steelers.
Not the yap on the Steelers or dog. I mean, I'm not going to, but I mean, Deshaun Watson still has not practiced even after his bye week.
Yeah.
And he has been cleared, and he's saying it's his shoulder now.
Yeah. There is
something going on there.
There is something really
weird.
Really weird going on.
I mean, this is, we talk about how, the running backs getting hurt, and they're pointing out to that, and I'm like, that's the reason why you don't pay them. That's the reason you don't get guys guaranteed contracts. If Deshaun Watson's just going to be like, well, I'm not playing. I'm not going to play. You're guaranteed money, so you have to pay him. That's crazy to even think about.
Speaking of us knowing that there's something more going on, have you been following the Mel Tucker situation?
Something weird, dude.
The Michigan State is going to end up paying out the.
I have this question for you.
Yeah.
Him admitting to an affair with her. He's already admitted it. Yes, he did do that. Yes, he did make the phone call. And yes, he was having an affair with her. It was mutual. And then all of a sudden, now she's pressing charges. But that in itself, the embarrassment that he caused the university by having an affair, in my opinion, that is a fireable offense.
I don't know. That's an interesting.
I thought it was. If you're saying it's not, tell me.
Well, it's interesting because your take would be that Mel Tucker is the only Division I football coach who's having extramarital affairs.
But he was. It's actually. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that he admitted to having one.
Yeah,
he has already admitted to actually having the affair with the woman.
I hear you.
And then, like we said from the story, it just seemed odd. It's like she wanted something, she didn't get it, and then she's like, "Oh, by the way, I've been sexually harassed by your football coach for a while now. I had a 37-minute phone call where he was masturbating, but I didn't hang the phone.
Never occurred to me that I could hang up on.
If you were so stunned by it, okay, I'll give you 5, 10, 15 minutes. You were stunned by it, and like, I can't believe this is going on. Is he kidding? But after 36 minutes, if you're still sitting there going, okay, well, I mean, there's something wrong. We said it from the start that it just seemed really, really weird. And then, the name I brought up to you, remember, was Mike Price at Alabama. But he never even coached a game at Alabama, and they ran him out of there because there was a faction of people who did not want him. And they set him up with those chicks. Set him up, got hammered, and having an affair and embarrassing the university that he never got a dime from Alabama. And was that somebody who wanted Mel Tucker out of Michigan State way of getting rid of him?
What embarrasses universities and what doesn't would be a fascinating topic for another show another day.
Our university campuses right now to be more embarrassed about.
Yes, there are some things that I would think would be a little more embarrassing than a head coach having. And I don't know. I don't want to get into defining.
Jeff and I, where Jeff and I lean towards politically, but I don't think we wear it on our sleeves, and we're not pushing on anybody. But the people at all these prestigious universities who are denying and supporting Palestine, but did you hear what's going on now? Now they're pulling their names out of it because they're losing job offers because it's like, are you serious? Why would you put your name into this group and put your name out there? That group goes out there and says that we're going to support a faction like this with what is going on over there. I don't care how bad you hate somebody. If some of the stuff that's going on over there is even remotely true, there's something really, really, really screwed up.
The atrocities
It's insane, scary. It's my living nightmare, by the way.
Hard to comprehend.
My living nightmare is not being able to defend my loved ones. Physically. If somebody's going to beat me down to the point where they take my wife and take my brothers and sisters and my mom and dad or my friends away to hurt them, and I can't defend them because I got guns to my head and I've knocked out, they've cut my hands off, that's my living nightmare is having to witness that. And then it's going on over there, and it just makes my heart just
Yeah, no, we're with you 100%.
I'm off that
We'll
soapbox.
take
I'm off that
a break here. You are listening to the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here at Quaker Steak and Lube in State College, and you are also locked in on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox. That's WFXS, Pleasant Gap, State College.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorrento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
Since retiring, I have spent my time searching the countryside for the hottest wings in America. I always seem to end up disappointed. You call these hot? Back off, Luigi.
Mamma mia.
Your hands it, busboy. Your wings suck! I knew I should have stuck with Quaker Steak's triple atomic wings. You think I'm tough enough?
The Center Hall Farm Store has been serving Center County and beyond for well over a half century. A small family business, the Center Hall Farm Store specializes in animal nutrition and manufactures its feed fresh using local ingredients. Get the best in horse, cow, pig, chicken, and bird feeds. If you're not already a customer, stop in and see why so many of your neighbors are. The Center Hall Farm Store at 110 West Allison Street in Center Hall, or call us at 814-364-1393.
Sioka Toyota of Williamsport invites you to stop in today or check us out online. We have the smart path to your next Toyota, like the all-new Crown, BZ4X, the all-new Grand Highlander, Corolla Cross Hybrids, Sequoias, and more. Over 100 new Toyotas here and on the way. Don't make a $1,000 mistake. Choose Sioka Toyota of Williamsport and see the Sioka dealership's difference. Buy or reserve yours today and see for yourself why Sioka Toyota is the only stop you need for your next new car. Sioka Toyota, it just feels right.
Ready to be part of something bigger? Come pave the road to success at Glen O'Habaker and discover a career where your hard work and determination can build a bigger, better future. Our team believes we can build a stronger future together. Join us at Glen O'Habaker, where we value teamwork on the field and on the job. Go to GOHcareers.com to apply. GOHcareers.com. And best of luck to all the Center County sports teams all season long from everyone at Glen O'Habaker.
The Goon and Ironhead.
Golf courses for hopping on board as a sponsor. You can head out to the Penn State golf courses and play either their blue or white championship courses. Also a great opportunity to practice your driving skills on the 36-stall driving range. They also have 4 practice greens so you can work on your short game. And of course, if you are hungry, the 19th hole is the place to visit. Refreshments, a great bite to eat before or after your round, or even if you're not golfing at all. And you're just not going to find better people than Joe Hughes and the staff at the Penn State golf courses. You can also visit the Walker Clubhouse. By the way, the Hawbaker Pavilion also, if you're looking for a place to host a company get-together, corporate get-together, or a family outing, you could do a lot worse than the Hawbaker Pavilion. That is for sure. Really neat place, and they have the TVs, all of the amenities. That you can check that out as well. You can visit PennStateGolfCourses.com online, or give them a call at 814-865-GOLF. That's 814-865-GOLF. Real quickly, one more time, our Center County Red Zone coverage resumes Friday night. 6:40 will be the airtime on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox. Good lineup of games this week. State College and Harrisburg will be the featured game. Harrisburg is 6-1 in the season. State High is 5-1, and that'll be a good one at Memorial Field in State College. And if you're coming in for the homecoming parade and you're looking for something to do that'll be a little different and fun after the parade. Again, it's 2 blocks up from College Avenue, where the parade will be going off of Fraser and Pew Street there, or at Fraser and Allen Street, I should say. You can just walk over and look down into Memorial Field. Should be a really good game on Friday night. Also, Bellefonte is at Bishop McCourt, and Penns Valley will be at Somerset, and we'll have complete coverage of all of those games. Also on Saturday, Bald Eagle area will be at Greater Johnstown, and Phillipsburg Osceola will be at Westmont Hilltop. But again, Friday night, Center County Red Zone starting at 6:40. Check it out and have fun.
How's your scoreboard doing down there?
It is fun. I will say,
That's cool.
yeah, they've been doing some really neat stuff with it, and they've been doing some neat stuff with the lights. They have the system they have now. You can like when State College gets into the Glen O'Habaker Red Zone.
Are they calling that? You're calling that, or is it the Red Zone?
It's the Glen O'Habaker Red Zone.
You're calling it that at the game.
At the game too. Yep. And they are
sponsorships.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, but so the stands, the lights in the stands go red while they're in the red zone, and then there's the flashing lights when they score the touchdowns. It's a pretty cool. It's a pretty cool setup. It really is.
Do you know that the Philadelphia Catholic League? Not one school has their own stadium.
Is that right?
Yeah, not one of us. We all use the public schools.
Well,
They have forever, so none of us.
Yeah.
Not one high school in the Philadelphia Catholic League has their own stadium. Let alone lights and dashboards and. That's. I mean, you showed me the video of it, and I've seen it online. I'm like, that is pretty damn awesome for a high school.
Yeah.
Like pretty damn awesome. How do they play in a red? Is it just?
Well, it's the stands are red. The field is still has the regular lights on.
Gotcha.
NFL weekend kicks off with Penn State and UMass. Oh no, I'm sorry, it's the Chiefs and the Broncos. Same difference. Tonight. I have to say, I don't know. I was always kind of neutral. Actually, there was a time when I was a Broncos fan. This goes way back to like the Orange Crush days. Randy Gradishar and those guys, like they were cool. It was like Steelers were always my team, but it's like, okay, Steelers are out of it. I'm all in on the Broncos.
A little bit before me.
Okay, so I go back to those days. And listen, I liked Elway. I wasn't a huge Broncos fan, but it's like I was more for them than against them. I was always relatively Broncos neutral, with some exceptions where I was for them. I will say I am enjoying watching the Broncos and Sean Payton in particular get theirs this season. And even though I'm not a big Chiefs fan, obviously you have to respect what they're doing. But I am actually looking forward to watching the Chiefs put an absolute beat down, which is what I think will happen tonight on the Denver Broncos.
So the bookings are getting blown up right now because Ironhead just called a
Yes.
complete blowout.
Yes, indeed. Guaranteed.
Broncos are
the
getting
Broncos will win it.
Kelsey, you don't know, is playing with the ankle. Yes, I am ecstatic about Mr. Sean Payton blowing up because one is I still can't get over what he did to Nathaniel Hackett. That was the most disrespectful thing I've ever seen in the NFL coaching leagues, in professional coaching leagues, that in general.
It's just such a dumb thing to do.
There's no reason to say it. Why? I don't understand why he would say something like that because, like, if you don't improve, you're just like, what if they have the same record as last year? They're going to say, okay, well, you had the second worst coaching job in the history of the NFL football because you did not do better.
I would say it's even worse.
Yes,
right.
Yes,
Like,
you got what he wanted. He got, he got a Russell Wilson that is the one that just completely baffles me. Absolutely, just blows my freaking mind how he has regressed from those Seattle Seahawks days, and it's just like it's crazy. What's even crazier is like his teammates don't like him. Watch it. I talked to Aeneas and I talked to our players. I said, you ever want to watch an offensive line and see if they love their quarterback? When he gets hit, how many guys are running to pick him up? It's barely any. It really, really, truly is not that many people. I don't think that they like him. He's just not likable. I just don't. He was the NFL MVP.
Yep.
Back-to-back Super Bowls, and now he's like he's Daniel Jones level. I mean, jeez. I mean, I just can't get over how bad he has gotten and how far he is. Now, with that said, does he snap out of it and just like it just clicks with him? I mean, you feel as if somebody who was that good at one point, it has to click eventually again. It has to, right? I mean, I'm still waiting for that like big day when he has like 4 or 5 touchdowns and he's looking like the old Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
I don't know, but yeah, the Chiefs. You know, did you watch the end of the game last week? And people were like, they're starting to get convinced that the NFL wants the Chiefs to do well. Did you see all that stuff?
no.
With there's a late pass interference in the game, and the defensive back rips his helmet off and yelling at the ref. That in itself is a 15-yard foul.
Yeah.
So they were mad. They called the ball uncatchable. Well, it was uncatchable because the guy was held. So they called pass interference instead of a hold, and then the guy should have. It was 4th down. The guy should have had a 15-yard personal foul for taking his helmet off. And then they said, well, it was after the play, after the turnover on downs, so it was uncatchable. So that helmet thing doesn't matter. And it was just a little shady. And all the shady stuff goes towards the Chiefs in a lot of people's ways, a lot of people's eyes. I don't really know. I mean, personally, they won the Super Bowl last year. They went out and won that game. It wasn't given to them. Maybe the late holding call in the end of the game, which by definition was a hold. By definition, yes, you call it, but in that situation of the game, I don't think you call it. That's just my opinion. I have a lot of opinions, Jeff.
I like it.
Yeah, but NFL, we'll see tonight. We got some more college. Is there any worthwhile college game on tonight? I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, I'm not.
I mean, I just can't get over how bad college football has become. West Virginia, Houston, which is actually not a bad game. SMU, East Carolina tonight too. But I mean, the NFL has just completely stolen Thursday night. Like the college ranks don't even mess with them anymore. They'd rather play Tuesday and Wednesday now. Think about that. That's nuts. That's a good question to ask you, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
If you're a coach and you're trying to get your kids as much exposure as possible, would you do a Tuesday or Wednesday game? I mean, once you do one, you got to do more than 1 or 2 because it's like you got to catch up, or you got to have a short week or a really long week in between. But if you keep on going on Tuesday and Wednesday, it's a little different. Like I'm watching Coastal Carolina and App State the other night. You know, is that something like I watched? Yes, because they're 2 pretty good damn teams. But as a coach, would you want to be coaching on Tuesday and Wednesday? No. I mean, as a parent of a player, absolutely not. You got to get out of work. You got to go down and go see the game and get back and go back to work on Wednesday. I mean, it's crazy to think about, but it is exposure and it is TV money. So is it worth it, in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, depending on the program.
Money and exposure, and you're on television. I mean, that's a huge thing to recruit with. I don't care if you're on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday night. Doesn't matter. You're on TV. You're on national TV. Actually, you probably get more eyes when you play on a Tuesday and Wednesday because you got degenerates like me who just like love watching football.
Yeah, it's tough though because it really does mess with your routine to such a degree.
You play Saturday.
To be honest with you, I'm not a fan that those are even options. I just don't think. It's different when you have like I know there are some Penn State wrestling fans that are upset about the Monday night, but it's not.
You ever get an answer on that?
And that's a different reason. Yeah, it was TV. The Jordan Center is actually open that weekend. There's nothing Saturday or Sunday that weekend, but
Big Ten wants it on Monday night. Huh?
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. But that's like, I mean, that might not be ideal for fans or whatever, but the kids, you can adjust the wrestling schedule. Football, I mean, again, I think you need the week. I don't think there should be Thursday night NFL games. I mean, I understand the financial component to it, but you cannot, and you cannot sit there and earnestly say you're concerned about players' health as a league and have games being played 4 days apart. That's just not. Those two statements are incongruous. It makes no sense. But it makes financial sense, and so it happens. But
as a player, I'm going to say this: it is nice because you get a quasi break. You get
on the back end, but it's such a I hear you.
Why wouldn't they have? I'm sorry, like Cleveland and 3 other teams had a bye last Sunday. Why are you not playing those teams this Thursday? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean,
Denver and Kansas City both played on Sunday afternoon. Now they're playing on a Thursday. With Cleveland and other teams had byes last week. Why are they not the ones coming in there and playing? It just seems so odd to me. Like, very, very weird. Very, very, very weird.
Yeah, it's not. I thought this was the first bye.
No, Cleveland didn't play last week.
Gotcha.
I knew my father-in-law set me up. And he goes, I said, well, wait, the Browns don't play this week. He goes, I know, but we're in Gettysburg. So funny.
That's funny.
Yeah. What do you got going on this weekend? You got Thursday. Is the Turtle like a big State High fan?
Not yet.
You're working, so does he go with Marissa to the games?
Not. I think they may go after the parade tomorrow night. I think we're going to go down. Probably try to get downtown pretty early to carve out our spot. Probably go get something to eat, and then they'll watch the parade, and then I think we'll probably meet up after the game. Is at least the tentative plan. Depending on it is all partially weather dependent.
They say Friday might be clear now.
Yeah, it's
Friday and
looking
Sunday
right
clear,
now.
but they're all going to push it into just Saturday.
Yes, yeah. Speaking of things that are unfair, so I'm just seeing Josh Allen's up on one of the TV screens here. That Jaguars-Bills game.
Bull crap.
Yes, when you have a team over there for 2 weeks,
yes,
right, in London, and then you're sending the other team over, like that is, and I get, there's, as we're talking about with the Thursday night games and everything, there are things that are unfair that occur during the course of the season. That though is just competitively unfair.
I completely agree.
Like to such a degree that I think you're kind of altering the fabric of the game there to some degree. But the other thing with that,
yeah, you're right.
Do you not get the feeling that the NFL is doing a little test run here to see if they can move Jacksonville to London?
I was going to say that. They want Jacksonville to win some big games over there, and then all of a sudden be like, hey,
yeah,
we have a fan base here now because we played great over here. I mean, when they talk about doing like 8 games home or like four home games there and 4 home games in Jacksonville type of thing. I mean, they already had 2.
Yeah.
Why would you buy a season ticket to the Jacksonville Jaguars? I mean, you get 4 home games. Or 6, excuse me, right now.
I don't know. Were both of those officially home games for the Jags?
Oh, I didn't think about that. You might be right on that.
I don't know.
That's good. I didn't think about that.
Damn
it, Goon. Not thinking things through. Story of my life, Jeffrey. The story of my life.
Well, welcome to my world.
Yeah, it is. It's a frosty world. It's a weird world, but we got to live in it, baby.
From going back to Penn State here with the game with UMass, Goon, the weather notwithstanding, as you said, I think the number one thing is getting through this game with no injuries, no additional injuries, and maybe even getting some guys back into the fold here. But I do think there is a benefit to having a game like this off of the bye week, heading into Ohio State, where, again, in essence, and I understand and fully support that James Franklin would never publicly come out and say, yep, we spent 3 weeks getting ready for Ohio State. And I don't think they're telling the players that, and I don't know. But they can't possibly have not been spending the last 2 weeks primarily getting some things in and ready for Ohio State. I get that you're looking at tapes of UMass, and listen, UMass has some good players on it too. I feel like listen, I do think their quarterback is good, but it's one of those you can be good as a player, and if those around you aren't at that same level, there is only so much you can do. To go back to our discussion on, if you put Brock Purdy on the Chicago Bears or the New York Giants or whatever, there's only so much a quarterback can do if the rest of the personnel around him is not up to snuff. Anyways, Penn State.
I mean, the SEC has done this for decades. I mean, Alabama and Auburn played an absolute patsy before their big rivalry, before the Iron Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, they pass around Alabama, A&T, and UAB has been another. I mean, Louisiana Lafayette. They pass these MAC-type teams around in their end of the conference the week before, because you don't want to take a week off. That's my opinion.
I agree with you. Well, and given Penn State's track record coming off the bye week, I think
I agree. That's 100%.
Wholeheartedly Penn State would agree.
Yeah, and this is a patsy game. There's no doubt about it. It is one of those stat builders, and we're going to, Penn State rushed for 455 yards today and threw for 300. Go on the great offensive displays. It is what it is. But so you're just tuning up and keeping your, stretching your legs before you got to Ohio State next week, and that's the big one. Everything we're doing right now should be geared towards next Saturday, and I think that it is, but without being said.
Agreed, 100%. And I think that
I like it a little bit better than bye week and then go play a huge game.
Well, I do too, in part because, again, I do think you kick off the rest a little bit in this game. And it should do nothing but help your confidence. I don't know that this team necessarily needs a win over UMass to help its confidence, but I mean, you're going to have a good feeling, presumably, coming off of this game. You're certainly counting on that going into to Ohio State. And, I will say it feels it is a dangerous spot in some ways, in that it feels like if Penn State doesn't win this year at Ohio State, like the feeling is, not saying it's reality, not saying it will turn out to be the case in the coming seasons, but what it feels like right now is that if Penn State does not go in and win this game in Columbus, that it's never going to happen. I mean, when are you going to get a better opportunity? Again, I don't think, I keep talking about, and probably too much, I think Ohio State is a really good team. I just don't think this is one of the great Ohio State teams. I think it's still good enough to get to the playoffs. I don't think it's a crazy notion to think that this Buckeyes team could get to the playoffs. Well, if you're thinking a team has a chance to get to the playoffs, that's a pretty darn good football team. So it's not that I think they've dropped off significantly, but I do think with a first-year starter at quarterback, and I do think they're still figuring some things out, even at this stage of the season. And I get they had the big win over Notre Dame, and they made the plays in the clutch and all of that. And hats off, credit to the Buckeyes. But I don't think right now this is a great Ohio State team. I think it's a good team, and I think this Penn State team has the potential. Well, we talked about it at the start of the season. So while I don't think this is one of the great Ohio State teams, I think both Michigan and Penn State have the best teams they've had yet under their respective head coaches.
You think Michigan's better this year than last?
Oh,
that's an honest question.
Yes. Yes, I think definitively so.
I haven't watched. They haven't played anybody, so I really haven't watched them.
Yeah,
I watched them a little bit on Saturday night, just out of the corner.
Yeah,
but I mean, Yeah, that last year's team was an absolute. They were. I mean, it still blows my mind how they played in that playoff. I mean,
I'm with you.
What in the F were they thinking? How they coached that game? How Georgia played TCU and just mauled them right down the middle of the field. That's what Michigan should have been doing. But Michigan was trying to razzle. I don't know what the hell they were trying to do. It was too much razzle dazzle, and they could not make a play when needed, and TCU did. It's like one of the all-time wow. I mean, and it goes back to the whole look at Michigan and Michigan's bowl record. It's like, wow, that's really crazy to think about. But how they played that title game last year, because I thought that was the best Michigan team I've seen. Their 97 team was just loaded. I got to give them that.
Yeah.
I will give them all the credit in the world. They were awesome. But I thought last year's Michigan team was better. But again, I haven't seen them close
I
enough.
don't think at the line.
I mean, I hope I don't
think,
see them at their best this year on November 11th.
Yeah. Well, regardless, I mean, it is. I think the consensus is this is the best Michigan team Harbaugh's had, and that this is the best Penn State team James Franklin's had. I don't think. I haven't seen anybody that says, man, this is the best Ohio State team. Even Ryan Day hasn't been there that long. I don't think this is the best Ohio State team Ryan Day's had. And again, I'm not sitting here telling you that Ohio State could run the table. I mean, I'm not saying that is off the table and that they are, just nowhere near the top. It's just I think they are a half step behind where they've been, and I think both Michigan and Michigan and Penn State are a half step ahead of where they've been. Certainly depth-wise in Penn State's case. So. Again, we'll see how it all plays out, but with the talent level, and then again, to me, Penn State has basically had at least 3 weeks, and I would argue to some degree they've had 4 weeks to get ready for Ohio State. And if you can't be ready with a month to prepare for a team, again. Always dangerous to put all your eggs in one basket in any season, in any sport. And so I don't want to do that, but I keep looking at it. It's like, man, if Penn State can't win this game, when in the world are you going to be able to beat Ohio State, especially in Columbus? And again, if Penn State goes out and loses to Ohio State and then turns around and beats Michigan, I still think this ends up, a wildly successful season in any reasonable look at it.
You and I are in the same ilk of that. Is there going to be a round robin between the three the big Eastern teams?
Yeah,
Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan. One loss between the three of them. It's just bound to happen like that. That's how I feel it's going to happen. You do too.
I think it could happen. I don't know. More and more, I'm starting to think the winner of that Penn State-Michigan game is going to go undefeated. I think Ohio State will be right there. And again, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'll be shocked. Oh man, the Buckeyes somehow went undefeated. I don't think it's out of this world shocking. Right now, as we sit here today, I think Ohio State will lose 2 close games. I think they'll lose to both Penn State and Michigan. And I think both will be, you'll look at it at the end of the game and say, man, that was winnable for the Buckeyes.
Yes.
For whatever it's worth. That's what I'm expecting as of today. And I reserve the right to change my mind again in 5 minutes. So.
Looking ahead to Saturday's games, I just went through the list. And not a super weekend. There is Oregon and Washington at 3:30. That's an absolute stunner of a game.
Yeah, I think that's
really
going to be
game.
a really fun watch.
I want to talk about the Miami and North Carolina game. What the hell, Mario Cristobal?
Yeah, Cristobal did not have a great moment. And this will be I will say this now takes on a different magnitude for Miami. This
it does.
Matchup with North Carolina.
I just
as a
can't
result.
believe why do teams routinely do it? I don't understand. The game is over. The game is won. Was he just trying to pad stats?
Well, I mean, that's what
He said he wanted to get 100-some yards to 150 yards, 200 yards rushing.
Well, no, 100 yards for the back. The back was at 99, and they wanted.
I hope he learned his lesson.
But yeah, you gotta win the game, and you have the game won. Take it. Not
that's
not a
Ampipe
great
Bulldog
decision.
type stuff right there, buddy.
That's what?
Ampipe Bulldog stuff.
Yeah, not good.
Losing to Walnut Heights in that way, and then even like how they lost the game. My God, like jeez. Losing on the last play of the game with a defender getting behind everybody and the guy hits him for a touchdown. I mean, that would have been an undefeated versus undefeated matchup in North Carolina. And they're a team that's sneakily undefeated.
Yeah.
Matt Brown's 80-some years old. He's doing a hell of a job down there.
Yeah.
Hell of a job. That's going to be an interesting game because Miami has a ton to prove. They got to come back from that one. If they're still stung from that loss of last week, North Carolina will whitewash.
Well, the whispers will grow a little louder about getting a new man in as the head coach of Miami.
Best thing never happened at Penn State was them getting rid of me. And he's doing great.
Well, no question about that. The other game that I think is just of some interest is because I think right now, I think it'll decide the Big Ten West is Iowa and Wisconsin. And
is there a trophy for that game?
I think, there's a trophy for 95% of the Big Ten games. What is it?
You know what it is?
Some sort of an axe, some sort of a pig.
Minnesota. I thought it was the pig.
It's an axed pig.
It's an axed pig.
I think that's the trophy.
On top of the Liberty, on top of the
bell.
land grant trophy.
With the
an axed pig on top of the Liberty Bell.
There is something. I'll look it up here. We'll take
a wooden jug.
A break here, but I think Wisconsin will win that game, even though I don't think either of those teams are deserving of winning the Big Ten West. I think for the Big Ten's sake, I think they're rooting for Wisconsin at the end of the day because
Iowa's so ugly.
Yes, I just think I think you don't want that offense being the one that represents one of the teams in a Big Ten championship game. Take a break here. You are listening to the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead Show. We are at Quaker Steak and Lube on a Thursday afternoon.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorrento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
Since retiring, I have spent my time searching the countryside for the hottest wings in America. I always seem to end up disappointed. You call these hot? Back off, Luigi.
Mamma mia.
Your hands, busboy. Your wings suck! I knew I should have stuck with Quaker Steak's triple atomic wings. You think I'm tough enough?
The Center Hall Farm Store has been serving Center County and beyond for well over a half century. A small family business, the Center Hall Farm Store specializes in animal nutrition and manufactures its feed fresh using local ingredients. Get the best in horse, cow, pig, chicken, and bird feeds. If you're not already a customer, stop in and see why so many of your neighbors are. The Center Hall Farm Store at 110 West Allison Street in Center Hall, or call us at 814-364-1393.
Sioka Toyota of Williamsport invites you to stop in today or check us out online. We have the smart path to your next Toyota, like the all-new Crown, BZ4X, the all-new Grand Highlander, Corolla Cross Hybrids, Sequoias, and more. Over 100 new Toyotas here and on the way. Don't make a $1,000 mistake. Choose Sioka Toyota of Williamsport and see the Sioka dealership's difference. Buy or reserve yours today and see for yourself why Sioka Toyota is the only stop you need for your next new car. Sioka Toyota, it just feels right.
Ready to be part of something bigger? Come pave the road to success at Glen Baker and discover a career where your hard work and determination can build a bigger, better future. Our team believes we can build a stronger future together. Join us at Glen Baker, where we value teamwork on the field and on the job. Go to GOHcareers.com to apply. GOHcareers.com. And best of luck to all the Center County sports teams all season long from everyone at Glen Baker.
The Goon and Ironhead.
Goon and Ironhead show. Again, we are at Quaker Steak and Lube on this Thursday afternoon. It is homecoming week for the Nittany Lions, and I think Penn State will remain unbeaten heading into the matchup at Ohio State the following week.
You can predict Penn State. I'll allow you to
This
do
once.
that to this week.
Yeah,
This one time.
seems like a fairly safe
Yes.
bet. Think the Nits cover on Saturday, given the weather conditions, dear Goon.
What
I
did
think
they get
41 and a half.
41 and a half now. Well, I think you made a statement on Tuesday, which I really, really have fallen for, and that is Penn State could pretty much say we were going to score 80 today, and they can go out and score 80 if they can name their own score.
Yeah. I think
I would love to be able to get a shutout here. Would love it. That would be great for the defensive momentum going into next week. We got that turnover out of the way last week, thank God.
yes.
An opening kick. So,
Don't have to worry about that.
I'm pretty sure they're going to name their own. I'm thinking of 50 plus. But weather-wise, I don't think it really plays into account at Beaver Stadium because the grass is just so thick and beautiful. It could take a lot of water before it starts becoming a real issue. They do a pretty good job of keeping the balls dry and stuff like that. So I'm not really afraid of the weather as being. It's not going to be a wet, pour down the whole game, right? It's just going to be sprinkles the whole day, every hour.
It's supposed to be pretty steady rain.
Like a good heavy rain?
I don't think heavy, but steady.
Crapola.
Is at least what it's changed a few times. I mean, rain has always pretty consistently been in the forecast here for Saturday. It looks like
it'll be more of a
during the
hindrance,
game.
more of a pain in the butt. And
Yeah.
we shall see with how many fans show up. That's the biggest one, buddy.
Yeah, and I'm seeing some stuff, and I get some of it. I think is Onward State is like if you're really the greatest show in college football, you show up for every game and you can come out. Listen, it's going to be chilly, rainy, and it's a given W, and you can watch the game in the comfort of your own home. I get it. I'm with you. You want to see a full stadium all of the time. Listen, I think they will have I think there's such excitement for this team. And, it is homecoming, so I do think the student section is the part of the stadium that I'm wondering how filled it will be. I think most of the rest of the stadium, there will be some empty seats here and there. I don't think you're going to have a wide swath of empty seats, except possibly in the student section. And again, in the overall scheme of things, I can't come down all that harshly on them if that is the case. It's going to be a cruddy day, and you've got big games coming up. They've shown up big for the games that Penn State wanted / needed. I don't know if you'd say needed as it turned out, but wanted them to show up for. Again, I think it'll be a good crowd. In terms of
It is
actual,
homecoming, so you should have a bunch of people back.
in terms of actual butts in the seats, I'll bet we're under 100,000. I'm guessing it'll be like 90, low 90s to 95. But I mean,
They have to
for
announce
Massachusetts,
though, right?
correct. It'll be announced at 106 or 105 plus. But in terms of actual attendance on Saturday, my guess is you're probably looking. I don't think it'll be horrible. I really don't. At least at the start. Now, if you're asking me,
if you're asking me, alumni in town.
yes, if you're asking me third quarter or fourth quarter, what that stadium is going to look like, there I could see. Yeah, we're at about half capacity. That I could certainly see.
Somewhat, we're going to see the maturity of our team, because they're not going to have that big momentum. Like I'm talking about the Phillies tonight, getting the momentum from the crowd. I don't think our guys are going to feed off of our crowd this week because it's going to be such a sparse, miserable crowd out there, and then looking to get up by 30 at halftime and say, you know what, let's head home.
Yeah, I think that's I think they'll be into it, the fans at the start, and I think it'll be I don't know what you consider a good crowd. I think it'll be a decent crowd, and I think they'll make some noise and all of that at the start. You really do hope that Penn State does take care of business, and they're up by 4 or 5 touchdowns at the break. And again, to me, you come out, get the starters in one series in that third quarter, get all of them out, and
Wish they had a mercy rule in college.
Yeah, there are times, and this is one of them, where it's like it does feel like it would be
And
better.
the field's going to be slick, so you just really got to watch the pulls and tears. That's what I'm just going to say.
Yep.
Don't want to go out.
I'm with you.
And I got some word on my show next week. 2 O-linemen this week. We're actually recording on Monday night. It's actually going to be recording from 5 to 6. If anybody out there goes to the show, so the show next on Monday night will be from 5 to 6. I guess that Mercury, Brenneman, Hacker-Nerd, and a couple other guys will do a lot of the Monday is when our players should do a lot of their NIL work. That is the deal with the university, is that Monday is their day to do NIL work. So they are going to have a couple different shows downtown type of thing. And then we're going to do our show early. We're going to record the tape early from 5 to 6. I got NORAD, the center, and I got Shelton, the quasi backup everything on the as a tackle / guard. So it'll be interesting talk. It'll be good. I feel bad. I'm taking them out of their victory dinner.
Good.
I told them, go eat your food. Come out to my show. So get your food. So I had Sal Wormley on Monday night. He was talking about
Of all people to take.
I said get your food in first.
Out of your.
I said get your food in first, then you come see me. We'll do our little Letterman thing first, and then we'll have me and Aeneas talk for 20 minutes, and then we'll have the player interviews when they're done, when they're nice and full.
All right.
From their crab legs and steaks. And kids eat pretty damn good, Ironhead.
Not bad these days. Not bad.
Yeah, and like we talked about the other day, I mean, I had a conversation. Terry was asking me about like nutrition when we were in college. I said, I don't even know anything. We had Chris Clark, who's been here for a long time, helping us out. Our dining hall was, they didn't want to give us too fatty of food, but we wanted heavy proteins. And our idea of nutrition back when we were in college, they had red, green, yellow next to all the food names. Red was to eat it very sparingly because it's high in fat. Yellow was eat, in moderation.
Yeah.
And the green was eat as much as you can, as much as you want type of thing. So that was the nutrition we had back in the day. And like I said, we were always complaining that in the summertime, and when it was time, we were really packing the pounds on and building for the season, we're supposed to go out and eat on our own. Hell no, in the summertime, we used to get just a summer rent check. We'd be eating Ponderosa 2-3 times a week because they all you could eat buffet type of thing. Is that the best thing for you? Probably not, buddy.
I would think probably not.
Yeah. But that's a whole show in itself. Is how far strength training and nutrition has come in the high school athletes.
Yeah.
Like these guys coming here, and it's easy for you because wrestlers, they've always had that nutrition. It just seems that they've always known because they've always had to watch their weight, maintain their weight, type of thing. So I can see that. You tell me, it seems that they've historically have known how to eat much better.
I don't know that that's necessarily the case in terms of. So I will say unquestionably that today that there is a much better understanding of the importance of still getting water in you and not allowing yourself to get dehydrated, but also kind of what to eat and when to eat during the course of the week to maintain your weight, but also maintain your energy. I mean, there was, when I first started covering the team, and you go back to even the 70s and throughout the 80s, I mean, it was just get to weight. It doesn't matter how you do it; you just got to get to weight. And there were a lot of guys. A lot of guys that were losing like 10 to 12 pounds over the last couple of days of the week. Well, that is not obviously the ideal way to do it or a healthy way to do it. Pretty consistently. there will be occasionally a guy who will get up, a couple pounds over where you'd like him to be. But generally speaking, once the season starts, these guys now, and they're not starving themselves. I mean, they're not eating obviously everything they want. They have. It's now, an hour before the dual meet. So part of it is, if you weigh in an hour before the dual meet, you can't obviously eat a full meal then and go out and wrestle effectively. So you are,
So they took that aspect of it out where guys would just gorge. And when were they weighing in before?
Well, at one time it was the night before.
And then you had 24 hours to pack weight back on.
Well, it wasn't usually 24, but so it's changed. And it would vary. I mean, different schools would do different things, and so. But in terms of what it is you need and how now, I mean, a lot of these guys will eat a banana or half a banana. Like, it is specific what you're eating going into a particular dual meet or a particular tournament. You have an idea, and it's much different than it used to be. Listen, this is what you'll be provided.
You know why I asked?
To try to maintain.
You know why I asked?
Why?
That's fishing question. My wife.
Oh boy.
Her maiden voyage. Her maiden fishing.
What'd she think?
She was just
yeah.
I had to wake her up and say, he won. She said, who?
Oh.
What? Yes. Fantastic movie. Loved it. Loved the whole aspect of the whole wrestling thing. But yeah, so I recall, like, you would weigh in the night before your match, and you could put 4 or 5 pounds. You could just take all that water weight off. Much safer what they're doing now. And you're getting a true weight.
Yeah. Yeah, it's.
Is there a.
But even
is there like a pound or two difference if you're allowed to sway? Or you've got to be at or under?
You have to be at. Well, I mean, there's allowances at the start of the season, and then there will be at the tournaments you'll get a pound a day. So, like at nationals, you got to weigh in at 125 Thursday morning. You got to weigh in at 126 on Friday morning, and 127 on Saturday. Excuse me, morning. But like if you're in the title match, those weigh-ins are Saturday morning, so you do have the afternoon and evening. But again, even there, you got to be, you got to be smart about what it is you're putting in your body and how you're doing it. It's all trying to get to optimal performance, obviously, in the biggest.
I don't know if it's better now or when I was here. When I was here, we were expected to do a lot of our own stuff.
Yeah.
Where now it is. Everything is, you're told when to wake, sleep, eat, poop, all that stuff. It's really, really crazy. What time you're here, what time you're there. And I get it. Joe was a Nazi when it came to like his clock management about players and stuff like that. But when we were down, he didn't want us around. Yeah. He wanted us being out there, go, be a college student, this and that. Do what you do. This is how you live. Live your life. If you have to go to dinner, go to dinner. Know how to eat. Learn how to eat, learn how to go with these guys. Whereas today, I don't know if it's better or worse right now with these guys. It's like, I don't know. What would I be? I mean, I definitely could have held a lot more weight than I did under Joe Paterno. So, would I be like the 355-pound guy, 380 pounds? Would we be that much bigger nowadays versus when we played with Joe? Yeah. I mean, Joe, he saw that number 3, and he hated that number. Anything over 300, he could not. It just did not register with him, and it just drove him nuts.
It's a different world.
Absolutely
sure
is.
Now, I mean, now if you're not 300,
it's crazy.
Hell, you're undersized, which is also just absurd to think about. Philadelphia Eagles, dear Goon.
JT,
yes, indeed. And that's at the Jets, right?
Correct.
Right. So, what are we thinking here for your boys?
I'm telling you
my
right now,
boys
the
are out.
Jets. I saw on X the other day. I finally called it X instead of Twitter for the first time. I saw on X that Greenberg from ESPN. The love affair with the Jets and the national New York media just makes me sick to my stomach.
Well, great.
What have they ever
Jets
done?
fans, it seems.
I know that, but so is Rich Eisen. It's like they overly do the Jet, and I'm like, what have they ever done? Joe Namath made one freaking call and stuff like that. Whatever. I think that the Jets are
Dallas
getting
Cowboys.
freaking
You
good.
talk about
man.
a team that gets covered.
Well, and that's the other thing. The Cowboys are all over it,
Well, the
but the
Cowboys
Jets are. I think that they're on Prime 9 times this year.
Well, you thought Aaron
because of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say this. I watched that game last week. They actually are improving. They truly, truly are. Zach Wilson is coming along very, very well. I mean,
Yes, he is.
for a person who was kicked to the curb, like violently and on national television, pretty much told, you're not the guy, sorry, we're moving on. We just signed Aaron Rodgers. Oh, by the way, Aaron just got hurt. So, yeah, Zach, you're our guy. We love you. He's handled it rather well. Better than I thought he would.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's been very impressive.
I believe he has really, really improved this year from last year, even like from game 1 to game 6 right now. Yeah, it does scare me. I mean, I'm not to the point yet where I wish the Eagles would get a loss. Because, we always say like the turnover last week, it's like, just get it out of the way. Just get it out of the way. Just have the turnover. No one can keep talking about how Penn was on a turnover. So if you you lose the game in 6th game of the year and then you build and grow from that, that's fine. But I don't want to lose to the Jets. No way, no shape or form. No way. The Eagles go out there and smack them around a whole bunch.
Yeah, the game that I'm most interested to see this weekend in the National Football League is the Cowboys at the Chargers. I'm really curious how Dallas responds and what the Chargers have in store for him.
Do you think that he might have the hook on Dak? I don't even know who their backup is.
I don't either.
Because they have so much money
doubt
wrapped
it
up in
right
him, they can't
now.
afford to hire him.
I think at this point you're gonna
roll him,
no
huh?
matter what.
I mean, I'm watching that game last week, and he was just throwing his picks, and he just did not look good. They looked absolutely horrendous, every aspect of that game.
But how much of that? I mean, I do think San Francisco right now is the best team. Now, again, that's
going to change. Are they peaking now, or are they going to get better from here? If they get better from here, holy crap, it might be some trouble, man. Might be some trouble.
Yeah, they've been extremely impressive to this point.
Yeah.
And they're at Cleveland by on Sunday, so I'm hoping they continue to look impressive. I'd like to just kind of make sure Cleveland remains irrelevant in the AFC North.
Hopefully, Deshaun. Maybe he might play. They already announced that the third team guy will start the game if Deshaun does not play. And again, we had this little argument last week of saying how I don't know. But I'm pretty sure if he doesn't play this week after being cleared 2 weeks before, 10 days before, there will be an issue in that locker room.
Yeah, I mean, there's something. There is. I mean, I don't know exactly what it is, but there is something weird going on. Weird is the right word. I don't know what it is. I don't know if there's some sort of disagreement between the coaches in him or management in him or teammate. There's something more than just, my shoulder's bothering me. I can't go. If the medical staff is clearing him, and again, maybe there's something else going on. There's no way that there's not something else in play.
Yep.
And again, I have no idea what it is.
So that exact comment I'm going to say for the Mel Tucker thing, which will be coming out here soon. There's just something weird about the whole freak.
Well, no, if you've been following it, we now know it's that this woman is a whack job who was after money.
She wanted a payday and she didn't get it, and she said, "Oh, so it's come out." Was that lawyer speak saying that, or was that
the recordings and her? It's
So we talked
a mess. And what I am going to be interested to see is ultimately, as we were talking earlier, when you say embarrassment to the university, or there is a moral clause, I mean, there are very few of us that are, what you would call perfect human beings. And I am just telling you, and I don't know this, I'm not trying to disparage anybody. I know it without knowing it, but, I mean, you really don't think there's several coaches who have had an affair somewhere along the way here that are coaching our young men. Now, I get it if it comes out. It's just like, do I think there's a bunch of kids that are drinking alcohol and all of that during the season? But if you get caught, right, then you get suspended from your high school or if you're underage, college teams and all of that. So to some degree, I get it. And part of it is you can't get caught, just like the same thing with the gambling issue at Iowa State. Do I really think the only student athletes anywhere in the country who have gambled on anything, it just happened to be that group?
I think somebody in Iowa had a bug up their butt and did it to both of those schools.
Yeah, so, but, on the other side of it is, why would you put yourself in that position? Like, these are the rules. You can disagree with them. You can think gambling's fine. You can think it's cool. For 4 or 5 years, forego it and take advantage of your opportunity to go out and play college athletics. But you can say that, again, same thing with drinking, same thing with drugs, and everybody's going to draw their lines at different places. It's like, well, I mean, come on. Of course, you're in college, you're going to have a beer. Well, okay. I'm just saying, if you have women throwing themselves at you, and some of these coaches do, for right and wrong reasons. Well, I don't know if there's a right reason, I guess, but wrong reasons. If you're married, I guess there would be a right reason there. But
it seems a very petty thing to say, that clause, because there's a lot of things you could say in that clause.
Yeah,
you
morality
twice on a Saturday, and your morality clause has been clicked over.
Yeah, I mean,
they're going to have a tough time.
There's a lot of things that come into play. But what we had suspected may have been at play there at Michigan State has certainly turned out to be exactly that. And I think it is going to be problematic. We'll see how it all plays out through the courts. I think it's going to be problematic for Michigan State.
I think the university lawyers have been pretty much worked over pretty well in the last few years.
Well, that is a fact.
At least we're talking about this one.
Yeah, true enough. I think Notre Dame, by the way, beats USC.
I mean, he's definitely on that hot seat right now, really.
I think Washington beats Oregon, too.
They're a pretty good damn team.
You
see the picture of them that I sent you?
I just trust Penix more than I trust Nix right now. In a big spot. Again, that's just me.
Well, Nix is 38, so I mean, it's crazy how
he and Sean Clifford came in together, did they?
Jeez.
All right.
Nuts.
Enjoy the homecoming weekend, boys and girls. I do think it's going to be a lot of fun. Again, we do have Center County Red Zone rolling your way tomorrow night on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox. Again, the lineup of games: State College in Harrisburg, Bellefonte at Bishop McCord, and Penns Valley at Somerset. And Mark Snyder will be our studio host. We'll have the coverage from the anchor chair, and then we'll have Rodney Brungart at the Penns Valley game, Kerry O'Hara at Bellefonte, and Mark Lintel covering the Little Lions for us tomorrow. Looking forward to that, and looking forward to the game on Saturday. Penn State, get the win, make it comfortable, have the game well in hand at halftime, and get out of there with no injuries, and then we will talk next week about the showdown in Columbus the following Saturday. Folks, enjoy the homecoming weekend festivities and the game. Have a great weekend. Be good and be safe, and we will talk to you again on Tuesday.